all for joining. Just welcome. I'm really just so excited. And if you haven't seen the book or bought the book, I mean, the book hasn't come out formally yet. We've gotten our copies, but you won't get yours for another week. But I just wanted to show it to everybody because let me just see if I can. So this is it. Yay. And it's called The Centered Heart. I'm Susie. If for those of you who don't know me already, most of you do. And I just wanted to say a couple things about this. Thanks to all of you for your pre-orders. We were #1 on Amazon's new releases a couple weeks ago. And then just recently, we're #1 on Kindle for new releases for heart disease. So that's all because of you. And I just wanted to thank you for just going ahead and pre-ordering. I'm just so excited that everybody did that. And you'll have your book in your hands soon. And while I'm holding it up, I just want to point out, this beautiful heart that's on the cover. I really love the image. I'm so excited that we got to keep this image. When we were putting the book together, the publisher sent us a bunch of images, and a lot of them were things like lotus flowers on lakes and things that really looked like 70s self-help books. And I was really kind of oh my God, I can't use that. I just can't do that. So we finally found this one image amongst the ones that we were scrolling, and there was nothing else like it. It was just so unique. And when we showed it to the publisher, she goes, "Of course you like that," because she knew that I would like the craziest image that they didn't think that they could even use because it was too wild. But they did play around with it. And thanks to Roman and Littlefield for figuring it out and giving us the cover that we really wanted. So I just really appreciated that they did that. I also want to say thanks to Roman and Littlefield for picking up the book. It was just, when we gave it to them, the title was Stress Less. And I thought that was such a great title. But when it changed hands, when the acquiring editor left, she left the book with somebody else. And when they picked it up, they felt like it wasn't the right title for the book. And so I had already bought a URL. I had already changed all of my social media. I had done all these things because I thought the title was going to be Stress Less. And I wrote it with that in mind. And so it was really a big pivot for me to have to change titles at the very end of the process. But I have to say that she said that the reason she didn't like it was because it was too harsh and that the writing was so soft and sort of open and beautiful. And she said that it just didn't match. And so I kind of fought her on it. And then I realized oh, that's probably right. And when we got the title, The Centered Heart, I thought, oh yeah. And something in my whole nervous system kind of relaxed. And I thought, oh, if I had to say the word stress all the time, like stress less, and call it that title all the time, I think I would be a stressed mess. So I'm really glad that we changed it. And I think that it has kind of that feeling now when you look at it and when you say the title, the feeling that the book kind of conveys. So I just want to shout out to Roman and Littlefield for having that, just seeing that, to the editor for really seeing that and asking us to shift it. And I just really appreciated, all of their, by the time we got this book to them, my editor, Missy, and I'm going to just thank a few people because I have to thank her too, but my editor, Missy, was so good, Melissa Nissen, you can see her. She was so good that they didn't really have to do a lot of editing when we dropped the book off to them. It was just a lot of periods and commas and capital letters and paragraphs that changed. And so she just shout out to Melissa for everything that she did. She's been through the ringer with me on this. We've been working on this for a couple of years, sort of took a break for a while and then came back to it. So I just want to thank her for everything that she did to make this book what it is, because she tidied it up really well. And I couldn't have done it without her. So I really appreciate that. And I also want to say a couple of thanks to some other people too. Amy Rothenberg is on the call. And Amy, I just love you so much. Amy has a book that came out last year called, let me just get the title because I say it all the time and then now I'm blank. But she wrote a book that's called "You Finished Treatment, Now What?" And it's a survivor's guide to treatment, to what they can do for themselves after they've gone through treatment for cancer. And it really isn't just that. I have to say that her book is so amazing because it's really kind of a book about prevention and about how to really take care of ourselves. She's an amazing naturopath and homeopath, and I've known her for so many years. And I have to say, when her book came out, I asked her, how she got it published and about her process. And she said, "Hey, do you need an agent?" And I said, "I really need an agent." So she gave me the name of her agent, Nancy, and Nancy Rosenfeld, who picked up the book, loved it, and sold it in 2 months. And Amy said to me, "Do everything she says and you'll sell that book." So I did. And I was so grateful to her for that. And Amy's really continued to be a real mentor in this process. Her book has done really well. And so she gave us sort of a little roadmap to follow to really make it, more successful. And everything she's given us and done for us has been so helpful. So I just want to thank you, Amy, for everything. And if you haven't picked up her book is absolutely amazing. So you have to pick it up.
Thank you so much. There's nothing better than seeing the next person who I love and admire come out with one of their books that's going to really help people to find and stay healthy. So congratulations, Susie. It's beautiful and it feels nice to hold. That's very important to me. It feels nice to hold.
Me too. I was like, oh.
I'll put the name of my book in the chat if anybody needs it.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was, and the truth is both of our books serve a similar purpose in that, her book was really about cancer, mine's about heart disease, but really they're not. They're really about what you can do to stay healthy, be healthy with any kind of condition that you're dealing with or for prevention. So I really like that they feel sort of like companion books in a way to me. Yeah. So thank you. So I also would like to say thanks to Gracie, my daughter, who is in the middle of her doctoral program at UCLA, and she's taking a little pause and has decided to help us with publicity. And I have to say, she's really whipped things into shape. She's like that person who has a bullet journal, and I'm the person who can't organize anything. So it's been a really nice match. She's sort of turned into my mother now. She makes sure that I eat, and she's always telling me where I need to be. And I just love having her on board, and she's done such a beautiful job. And if you go to our website, yourcenteredheart.com, you'll see what a beautiful job she's really done. She's put together everything there, and it's just been wonderful to have her sort of leading the charge and taking care of everything. And of course, Daisy is my other daughter who's been helping with social media. So shout out to both of them for all the work they're doing. And then 2 more shouts for people that I love and admire and want to thank. And one is to my husband, Josh, who, I have to tell you, he listened to me ad nauseum over the past couple of years. Like I would wake him up in the middle of the night and go, "Honey, does this sound good? Do you think this is what I'm trying to say?" And in Josh fashion, he's always kind and always supportive, never got upset that I would wake him up to ask him questions, or in the middle of him doing his work, I'd be, "Hey, come listen to this." And he always put everything down and came over. And I really trust all of his feedback and all of his inspiration and insight. So I just wanted to shout out to him. And then lastly, to Dr. Ornish. And I will say that the real inspiration for this book has come from my 30 years of working in a lifestyle medicine program. And, Dr. Ornish started a program for reversing heart disease without drugs or surgery. And 30 years ago, they asked me to join the team. And it really changed my life. And what it did is it helped me really recognize in all the time that I sat with participants and patients, just how important stress management really is. And that stress really contributes to most of the chronic illnesses that we face today. So not only heart disease, but diabetes and metabolic syndrome and autoimmune conditions and anxiety and everything, you name it. In fact, I think the CDC says 75 to 90% of all doctor's visits are for stress-related illness. And that's a lot. So to really, be in a program where I get to work with people daily and to really be in people's sort of healing journey was just so inspiring for me. So I want to just thank Dr. Ornish for his work. And he was really, he's really been a light in the world of lifestyle medicine for all of us. So I couldn't have done this without his program and his work and his sort of vision. So certainly kudos to him. And so I wanted to say that most of the stress that we experience actually can be mitigated with just simple practices that retrain the nervous system and the mindset. So that, I'm going to say that again, most of the stress, if not all, can be mitigated with just simple practices that retrain the nervous system and mindset. And I think that that's something that I want to say that a lot of the practices that are in this book are about down-regulating the sympathetic nervous system, or that fight or flight response, and then upregulating the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest phase. So I think that above all, when we're in that fight or flight state, we can't heal. We're not able to heal. So if we can just turn that switch and move into a parasympathetic state, we are halfway on the way to healing. And so really that's what these practices, each chapter in the book is really one more kind of intervention, if you will, or one more practice that helps to flip that switch and really turn things around so that we can start to mitigate all the stress that's around us, and also change the way that we react and respond to stressful situations. And I think that's the most important part, is that changing our response is really the most important. And I think that people often tell me that, they don't need to do these practices. They have their stress management. They walk every day, or they golf, or they go fishing, or they knit, or they have a dog or a cat, or they run, or the one I love the most is they drink. So whatever it is, those may be things that help you relax and help you in the moment feel good, but none of those actually train the nervous system. And I think that that's the difference, is these are like an intervention, like a way to retrain our nervous system that's going down the wrong path. And so I think that's the big takeaway from the book, is that these practice, everybody needs these. Everybody has to think about how they're going to deal with the stress in their lives. And the things that we think are stress management often aren't helping us very much. And that I like people to really understand that these are really important practices, and to do them. We take so much time and energy with our diets and how we eat. We take so much time and energy with our exercise practice, but not very many people take time with their stress management. And when I was working in the Ornish program, one thing we could see happen over and over again is that the people who did more stress management, more exercise, but the people who did more stress management showed more reversal of their disease. And that to me was really important. And it was apparent that when people fell away from their stress management practices, everything else, all of their other lifestyle practices started to suffer, meaning that they wouldn't eat as well, they wouldn't stay adherent to their diets, they wouldn't stay adherent to their exercise programs, their relationships with others weren't as good. So I think that it really showed me that this is really the glue, like really a really important part of our daily sort of self-care. So having said all that, these are the practices that build nervous system resilience, and they're the practice that help us change. So I want to just take a minute to read from the book. I'm just going to read a couple passages, and then I'd like to, in my own fashion, which I always do, is have us all do a little practice together, maybe just a 5 or 7 minute practice, so that you have an experience for all of these practices, all of this talking to land on some kind of an experience. So the part I'm going to read is from the first chapter, and I think I sort of lay it all out here, so I'm going to just go ahead. So living in a way that's more connected to an inner calm is a vital part of self-care. Yet often we look at self-care as selfish or overindulgent. That's because we're rewarded for overworking and for being stressed out, as if it were a badge of honor that you've earned through your neglect of yourself and ignoring your own needs. Yet no one ever says, hey, keep up the good work that led to your heart attack you just had, or congrats, your blood pressure is up, you've really outdone yourself, or wonderful news about your adrenal exhaustion. I can see you're really giving it your all these days. Obviously, self-blame for these choices is not the answer. Instead, it's about redirecting your energies into what you can do to stay healthy without retreating to a monastery or an ashram or an organic farm in the country. How we react and respond to everyday stressors can be the difference between health and disease. Talk therapies and didactic classes on stress management seem like they'll relieve our suffering, but they alone don't really do the trick. because stress and trauma find their way into our bodies. We need therapies that address the body and the mind, therapies that bring us back to ourselves. So that's one. And then thank you, Julie and Mimi. There's several of you that worked in this program with me, so I just want to shout out to you guys too for the years of work that you've done with just ushering people back to their health. Really appreciate that. And then this is another one. The essence of health is deep within each of us. Yoga provides a compass for developing an internal locus of control, finding balance and calm within. Health stems from this internal state of harmony and self-responsibility. A doctor can tell you you're healthy, but if you don't feel good, is that really health? Yoga defines health as ease. Do I feel at ease in my own body, mind, and heart? Our health is determined by our internal experience, not an external measure. The somatic practices of yoga can help you not only tune into how you're feeling, but also provide tools and practices that can return you to a state of balance and ease so healing can occur. Relaxing the body, steadying the breath, quieting the mind and heart all return us to a sense of inner peace and ease. Think of it as an awakening of your own personal power to affect your well-being. This power is far greater than you ever realized. Each chapter contained in this book is an introduction and immersion into one aspect of these practices that is healing. Postures, breathing, relaxation, meditation, imagery, compassion, and a connection to nature. The chapters are then woven together with stories from my students and heart patients, and with practices that provide a map to self-discovery and self-healing. Included are details of how to choose and shape each practice to make it personal and relevant, as well as the science that supports why practice will help you reclaim your health and uncover the calm within. So that's a little, yay, thank you. That's a little insight into the book. So thank you. I'd like to just take a minute to do a little practice so we can all do that together. Just take a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes. And then I want to maybe take some questions and say a few more. Somebody just said, please tell me you're going to release an audio book. I hope that happens. But I will say this, Aubrey, there's a little QR code in the front of this book, and it leads to about 15 free practices that go with the book that are me talking you through some of the practices. And I also wrote the book in a way that you could read it into your phone, like into your recording device, and then play it back for yourself. Or you could read it to your children, or you could read it to your students or your patients, your friends, or yourself. So it's really done in a way that that allows you to kind of take care of you. Everybody has a different way that they learn and feel good, and so it might be that you like to read it. It might be that you like to listen to me say it to you. So I included those free practices in the book. So that's just, I think it's on like page 5. There's a little QR code and you can go in and take a picture of it. And then it takes you right to the free practices. So I hope everybody will take advantage of that. And actually, even if you don't have the book, you can go to our website, yourcenteredheart.com, and you can get all the free practices. They're all there. And I've taken the last 2 years to put up so many practices. So I really do want you to take advantage of those. There's also for people that, that's not enough or they need more sort of guided care. I did a 30-day program that's also up there. It's 30 days, 30 minutes every day, and 30 different practices, and they're all arranged differently. So somebody who wants me to sort of talk them through everything and sort of usher them through that process, there's that program there as well. That's not a free program, but I hope you'll take advantage of the ones that are. So having said all that, I'll go back to some questions in a minute, and I'm going to invite you to get comfortable. And so this could mean you could go lie on your bed and take your phone with you if you want, or you could just sit here. I'm going to invite you into just a short centering practice. So I'm going to invite everybody to get comfortable, whatever that means for you. And you don't have to leave your camera on if you don't want to, if you feel self-conscious, but I like seeing your faces too. So just start by taking a long, slow, deep breath, big in-breath and a slow exhalation breath. And do that several more times as you begin to sink and settle. Allow yourself to begin shifting from thinking and doing to feeling and being. Transitioning from busyness to stillness. And begin to feel yourself now from the inside. And just noticing the current conditions of your own body and mind. Noticing any areas where you might be holding tension or resistance. And see if you can send now a wave of relaxation through the body from top to toe. Smoothing out any patterns of tension that are within your reach. Any patterns that you're willing and able to let go of. Right here, right now. Letting go. And if there are any areas that are still calling out, begin to take your gentle breath into those areas one at a time. And imagine the breath moving in, around, and through. As if to unwind those patterns of tension in those specific areas. And after letting go of those patterns of tension that are within your reach, just begin to settle with yourself exactly as you are in this moment, without the push or the pull of wanting things to be different. Just surrendering to what is. Surrendering to the current conditions of body and mind. And now begin to take up residence in the spaces of your own body. Embodying your awareness with this sense of presence as you feel yourself from the inside. As if you could feel your feet and legs, your hands and arms, buttocks and abdomen, chest and lungs, heart and throat, and even feeling your way up through the spinal column. Sensing the base of the skull, the hinges of the jaw, and all of the muscles of the face. And even sensing the organs of sense, the mouth and tongue, nose and nostrils, eyes and eye sockets, ears and eardrums, and even the brain, the cognitive sense. And as you lift your awareness up to the crown of the head, Imagine perching at the crown of your head, like a bird perched at the highest branch of a tree overlooking the landscape. And just sensing and feeling the whole body all at once and all together, as if all of those individual parts of yourself were coming together into one whole body experience. One whole body sensation. And breathing as if your whole body were breathing in, as if your whole body were breathing out, as if you could feel yourself breathing from your bones to your skin and your skin to your bones. And now just let your awareness land in the spaces of your own heart. And just breathing as if your own heart were breathing in, as if your own heart were breathing out. Knowing that this is the seat of your own inner wisdom, your own inner healer, your own intuition. And you might even ask your own heart what it needs for healing. If there's something that you need, something that you haven't been paying attention to, that you need to pay attention to, just asking internally and listening. And knowing that the heart doesn't always speak in words, but there might just be a felt sense, an image, an aha kind of moment, or maybe nothing at all. And that's okay too. It's just that process of asking and listening that returns us to our own inner healer, that strengthens that connection that we have with our own intuition, so that we might find ourselves in the right place at the right time, with the right people in the right circumstances. We may find ourselves moving through our lives with a little more ease and grace. And as you complete the practice, just sending a wave of gratitude to your own heart for all of the ways that it directs you and leads you in this life, for all of the gems of wisdom that it bestows upon you. And just knowing that that place of peace, that calm, is always there inside of you. You can always return to it. As you let the gaze of your eyes fall open and downward, just pause there for a moment. That sort of 50-50 gaze, with 50% of your awareness still lingering in your interior world, and 50% of your awareness just gently opening to the exterior world. And when you feel ready, you can raise your gaze. So I just want to take a minute and open it up for questions. Um, And maybe there's some questions in the chat. I don't know, Missy, do you see any that you want to read out? Nothing yet?
We don't have any questions in the chat yet. That was a beautiful practice. Thank you, Susie.
Thank you.
Rebecca asked, will there be a book tour and will you teach while on tour?
All you have to do is invite me and I'll go. So if anybody has any groups that they want me to talk to, any podcasts that they know about, we've been doing podcasts lately. Thank you to Amy for giving us her template for how to send out cold calls to podcasters and to different people. We've been doing quite a few of those. I've been doing quite a few, and I'm open to I'm saying yes to everything. So whatever, if you've got a group that you want me to talk to, or if there's a bookstore in your town and you want them to carry the book and you want me to come, I'm open to that. So anybody who has anything, just let me know. I'm happy to do that. Anything else? Hey. Anybody want to unmute?
I was wondering if you wanted to talk about like the accessibility of some of the postures, just some of these practices. I think sometimes the practice of yoga, or even the word yoga, can be intimidating or, not fit a mold. So I was wondering if you could talk about how you designed your practices and that kind of thing.
Oh, I love that question. Okay. Well, I'm going to just show you a little picture. So I did the practices so that they could be done both in a chair and on the floor. And that really we did that in our program as well. We had sort of two practices that people could do. And now I've got Josh and I are doing them here, but we've got it set up so that you could do the way that I direct the practices in the book and some of the videos and audios is that you can do them lying in your bed, you can do them sitting in a chair, and you can do them sitting on the floor. So whatever your level of comfort is, they're designed for everyone. So that's why we did it that way. And I wanted to just point out the difference between the postures that we do in this practice and in my book, sort of juxtaposed to what a yoga practice might look like. And yoga, the kind of yoga that most people are doing is pretty aerobic and pretty exercise based. And this is really not. These practices, in the tradition of Ayurveda, they say disease knocks 3 times. And if you don't listen, it takes you. And so these practices are listening practices. They're really about embodying your awareness and really listening to the information the body is giving you about yourself. So they're done slowly and with awareness. And, I think that sometimes people come to my classes and they think they're going to get this, like, we're going to do 12 sun salutations and we're going to jump into this pose. And sometimes they're disappointed, but they always come back because they love the relaxation and they love the feeling that they have when they leave. And I often tell people like that, it's really important to do your exercise program first. Like if you're one of those people that feels like jumping out of your skin when you do a practice like this, like we just did, if you felt uncomfortable, you probably need to run around the block a few times. Or you might need to, Josh and I always have this sort of ongoing thing about, he needs more exercise than I do. So he said, you have to just run me like a dog. So I just say, you go walk for 2, 3, 4 miles and pick me up on the last 1.5 miles. So that's kind of how we work that out. But then after you've kind of worn yourself out, most people are more willing to sort of sit still and do these sort of more somatic practices where you're rolling your wrists and your head. Even if you can do really dramatic yoga, which a lot of people can, and even I can do some of the more dramatic poses, but I often only do these really subtle ones so that they can serve more as a way to listen to my body and what it needs. I don't know if that answered what you were asking, Missy. I'm completely... But I think you were asking about the accessibility of the practice. And, it really is an accessible practice. And the way that I put it together in the book too, there's the chapters. Each one of the chapters is an intervention, like it's one of the practices. And so the way that I put it together, there's like 7 or 8 different practices in each chapter so that you can pick the one that suits you. So not everybody wants to do the same thing. So an example of this is, I used to teach, sort of traditional yogas, you teach meditation focusing on the breath. But what I realized in teaching people and being a yoga therapist for all these years is that that doesn't work for everyone. People who have COPD or people who have asthma, if you tell them to meditate on the breath, they'll lose their mind. They'll start feeling like they're suffocating. And so it's really important to give different options. Like for someone like that, it might be better to meditate looking at a candle flame or walking slowly or doing meditation in action, mindful action. So I gave a lot of different practices because I recognize that everybody's different. And in order for it to be accessible, there has to be different things that you can choose. It can't be one size fits all. So thank you for that question. That's my answer to that.
Yeah, that was perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Julie asked if you would discuss your process of writing this book a little bit.
Yeah. Oh God. Thank you, Julie. You know, I started writing it because I felt like I had something to say. I used to write articles for Ornish Living, and then one day I noticed that they were all posted up on Huffington Post. And I thought, oh my God. And I never thought of myself as a writer, but I thought of myself as a yoga teacher, and I thought of myself as somebody who could help people manage stress and help them with their process through their healing. And so I started writing articles. And when I saw the articles posted, I thought, gee, I wonder if I could turn that into something, if I could write a book or do something. And I met someone through that had a company. I don't know if she's on today. Her name is Rachel Lehman Haupt, and she has a company called Story Made, and she helps people put together um, book proposals. And so I started writing a proposal, and the proposal, I don't know if anybody has ever done this process before, but the proposal is sometimes as long as the book. I mean, the proposal was like 75 pages. And so that took me like a couple years to do that. And what was really funny is when I went after I had it all done or sort of whipped into shape, I was like, well, what do you do with it now? And she's like, well, you got to figure out an agent or something. And so when I talked with Amy about an agent, I just had the proposal. I just had a couple chapters written, and the agent sold it in 2 months. I mean, it was like sold. And I thought, oh my God, now I have to write it. But I had already had a practice of sitting every day and writing. I wrote almost every day. So that part was so much fun. Like when people talk about the process, the writing is the easiest and the most fun. It just sort of poured out of me. And I think that sometimes you can kind of overwrite things. And when Missy and I sat down to do some editing, sometimes, we tear it up so much that I'd be like, oh no, I just have to go back to the beginning, because it just the way it flowed out at first was often what we ended up with. And so that was kind of the process. And then when they bought the book, I was like, oh shit. So then I started writing furiously. And I think they bought it. She bought it in January, and it needed to be done by March. So I wrote it really fast, March or April. But then in that time, the acquiring editor took another job, and the book got lost. It got set down, and nobody picked it up. So it sat there like for a while without anybody. And so that's why when the new editor came on, she goes, I don't like that title. And I was like, but I just finished the whole book with that. So, but that was the process for doing it. And I really enjoyed that part. The part that's harder is kind of all the other parts, sort of getting it out there. Once it's done, you can't just sit there and go, okay, because it's not the same, marketing and publicity are a big thing. And so that's been a bigger process for me. I don't know, Amy, you might have had that same experience, did you?
I did. And I think I sent you an email last week saying, now the part that is really challenging is to you have to be quite self-promoting. And a lot of the nature of this work, you're trying not to be stressed. You're trying to model balance in life. You're trying to show that you are a compassionate person who puts everybody else first often, after taking care of your own stress management needs. And I think book promotion is like any other kind of promotion. It has to be sort of relentless, but you have an incredible team. You have an incredible product. Your website sort of speaks for itself. It's beautiful. It's very easy to navigate. So, and all those Amazon numbers, those really help a lot. And you just need like one or two really famous people to say, you need this book. And I have one, and you should get one.
Yeah. So if anybody knows anybody, pass it along. That's right. Yeah. I think that's really true, Amy. Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
And the one thing I would say about the like the book tour, really the sage advice that I've gotten has been, unless you're already a very famous person and a known author, unless you know 20, 25 people who are going to show up at a city or town for a book launch, it's very hard for them to generate people just from the bookstore sending out a memo. So, if you know people in that town, 20, 25 people who say they're going to come, go for it. Otherwise, probably not worth the effort.
Yeah.
And for a lot of these things, you have to balance, how much time and effort, because, you don't make that much money per book and you're just trying to get the word out. Is there a more efficient way of getting the word out?
Yeah.
I mean, I think also doing, the one thing I would say for you, and we can have another conversation because I have a lot of other ideas, but you can do book groups. So as a group of people get together, they want to read the book, and you'll do 4 or 5, sessions with them over the course of a few months.
Yeah.
It's another great way to help promote the book. And then entering your book into all kinds of book awards.
Yeah.
That you have to be self-promoting and do that and spend the $50 application fee, because once you get an award, then they help to
Yeah.
promote
It
the book.
goes. Yeah. That's right. Thank you for that. Yeah. We were asked by a couple places to apply. So that's coming next. I'm so excited about that. And I love what you were saying about it's a stressful process, because many times during this process, I would look at Missy and I'd be like, I'm so stressed out. And she goes, I know somebody who just wrote a book about that. I'm like, okay. So I have to say that to myself all the time. We sort of have a joke here, like when I get stressed out, Josh and Daisy will say, turn on the nanny cam, so it's like, so that I just like grab, like, okay, this is not that, it's not that stressful. It's okay. But, I've had to use all these practices myself over the years. And all I say to people, like, you should have seen me before. Like, this has really helped me to be able to do this and to be able to put a book out there and to be able to promote myself, which, most of, like you said, most of what you do as a stress management specialist or a doctor or a therapist is you're really promoting other people and lifting other people up. And so I'm so used to lifting other people up and not so much my own work. And so that's been a real shift. But gotta rise to the occasion. Anybody else? Any other questions that came through?
Lisa did ask if you would share more about the 30-day program.
Yeah. Well, that was the most stressful thing to do, because I was recording myself, and I don't know if Frank Harris is still on, but the first CD that I did, Frank Harris recorded. And then I had to learn how to use all these things to do this, because I didn't have somebody to record me anymore. So I recorded like hours and hours and hours, like in my little teeny office. And I learned all these things that I kind of knew from him from years ago, but like stacking pillows up so that the sound wasn't so echoey, and and I would, oh God, it was the whole thing. But that program, it's a 30 days, 30 minutes each day, and their practices, are different. I've taken 30 practices and sort of spread them out over 30 days. And each day, after the first 15, after I introduce all the practices, I give a different prompt. And the different chapters, and one of the chapters in the book is about connecting to nature and how important that is. So I give prompts about how to do that. And another chapter is about Ayurveda, and I give prompts about that. Another chapter is about compassion. And I know Mimi's on, and Mimi was one of the group support leaders in the Ornish program for many, many years, and one of the most compassionate, lovely women healers I know. And we talk about this all the time, but, giving prompts for, working with, a lot of what I took was stuff that, Mimi and I have talked about over the years about just speaking compassionately. And so I gave some prompts for that in the 30-day program. And so it really is, it's really a nice program. And we're having a couple people, if you're somebody, who wants to try it out, there's a discount code when you buy your book. So there's a discount code in the QR code for people who buy the book. You can get the 30-day program at a discount. So if you're interested, definitely use the code, because it'll give you a lot off. Yeah.
How much is it?
Oh, the program's $199 normally, but if you have the book, it's $149. So, think about it. It's, for 30 days of practices, and then they're yours. You can download them, which is really great. So then you have, basically you have your Calm app right there. It's all there. So, yeah.
And then in the chat, Gracie posted our Facebook Centered Heart community. And I think it would be really fun if, you know, we had a group of people who were doing the 30-day challenge to kind of like do it together. Because I have started my 30-day challenge. I did day 1, maybe 30 days ago, and I haven't done it since. So, you know, it's hard sometimes. And so it can be nice to have like some little accountability buddies, you know, that could maybe do it together.
I love that. And I do think it takes that. I think that you need to feel the support of other people because I think stress management is subtle. It's not like exercise where you go out and you sweat and you feel, it's a subtler process and it changes your consciousness over time. And I think that we're not used to that. We're not used to subtle practices. And sometimes we can't tell what's changing. It's the people around us that notice. I tell a story in the book about one of the participants in the program, and some of you might have heard this story already, but it was a guy that was a really high-powered lawyer that came through, and we got people, they didn't know what yoga was. I mean, people in our program had no idea what yoga was. And so I really learned how to teach yoga without talking about yoga. And people would have these really profound experiences and they didn't really quite understand them. And one of my participants, like I said, was a high-powered lawyer. And he came up to me one day and he said, "Something's wrong with me." And I said, "I'm sorry, what do you mean something's wrong with you?" And he said, "People like me." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, people like I used to go out in the hall and get some water and people would scatter like cockroaches." And he said, "And now people talk to me and they like me." He goes, "I don't know what to do with that." And I was like, oftentimes it's the people around you that really see the changes. You don't recognize them until somebody kind of points it out to you. And a lot of us all are practicing. And so we can kind of point it out to each other like, "Hey, have you done your meditation?" I know my friend Michelle is on, and we often will say that to each other. We'll talk about like, "What have you done? And are you doing this? And maybe you need to do a little more of this." And I think it's really nice to have some accountability. It's really nice to have a place where you can go and people are talking about what they're doing and what they're struggling with. And you can sort of encourage each other to practice each day. And it really doesn't take much. I mean, 30 minutes. How many of you just like spend 30 minutes just scrolling Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever? I mean, most people are spending more than 30 minutes at that. So it doesn't take much time to drop into these practices. And, I really just want to say, like, what I really hope you get from this is an understanding that you have so much agency, so much ability in your own, so much that you can do in your own healing process, and that most of us don't really tap into all of that. And that I really hope that, if anything, this book helps you to take more responsibility for what you can do and what you can change, because it's dramatic. I mean, like I said, our lifestyle change program, we would see people come into our program, and I know that there's people on the call that were also working in that program and saw this happen too. But in our program in Omaha, they would put people in that were on the heart transplant list in the Ornish program to while they waited for a heart because they didn't know what to do with them. And this started happening early on. About 6 weeks in or 12 weeks into the program, they would come off the transplant list. And we'd be like, "What just happened?" And that is remarkable. Like, if you think about that, the changes that can happen, that can occur with just simple practices, just simple lifestyle changes, are incredibly profound. And in a book like this, if you do, when you weave them all together, it really creates a powerful healing path. So I just want to remind people that they have that ability to change their life in really important and profound ways. So if you get nothing else, just know that you have it in you and you can awaken it at any time. And hopefully the book serves as like a little roadmap or a little bit of help in that area. Anything else? Does anybody want to unmute and just let me hear your beautiful voices?
Thank you, Susie. Whoops, there. Thank you, Susie.
Thanks, Susie. Of course. Thank you. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, and for all those that support you and have helped you. Thank you.
And who is that speaking? Is that Lisa?
It is. I don't know, my my video is a little off. Excuse me. But
It's okay. I just can't see everybody at the same time. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lisa.
thank you.
Hi, Susie, it's Mimi. I love you.
Oh, Mimi. Hi.
But listen, I'm also a stubborn Irish woman, and I know firsthand because I had the privilege of working with you all these years in the Ornish program of the amazing gift that you have had for years, and it's it's just culminating in this lovely book. And I just know that with all these lovely people here and all that will touch this book, it's what we need in our world. It's union. And I know of no better teacher than you.
Oh, Mimi, thank you. And, coming from a really incredible healer herself. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And we do need it. I mean, I don't know one person. I mean, I had a friend of mine, a doctor that comes to class on Saturday mornings, and she said, I can't tell you how stressed out my patients are right now. And I just read this study that 3/4 of adults say that this year they feel even more stressed than last year. I'm like, how is that even possible? Like people are feeling more stressed every year, every day. And so I do think that it's necessary right now that we really try to manage our stress. And when we manage our stress, and this is something that's really important, when we manage our stress, it really helps mitigate the stress around us. Like the people around us change as well. Like when we're changing and reacting differently, everyone around us is learning as well. So, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for everybody around you, do it for the world because it makes a big difference.
Hi,
Susie,
Hi,
it's Karen.
Susie. It's Rebecca from out in Portland. It's nice
Hey,
to
Rebecca.
see you. Hi. Look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Yeah, are you coming here in the fall? Or am I coming there in the fall? I don't know.
No, IMMH. Aren't you coming?
Oh,
to-
IMH. Yeah, Rebecca Robb. Hi. I have
Hi.
two Rebeccas from that area. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Josh and I are both going to be speaking at a conference in DC in, I think it's October, right, Rebecca?
Yeah. In the
Yeah.
first week of October.
And
Yeah.
I'll be teaching the stress management in the mornings every morning. I'll be doing like a little chair series for everybody, similar to what we did here. And Josh will be speaking about amino acid therapy, I think. So
Like functional medicine.
functional medicine for mental health. Yeah. So excited to see you there, Rebecca. Thanks for joining.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There was somebody else that was speaking out.
It's Kara. I was gonna
Kara.
echo what Mimi said, and I mean, you are such a light in this world. And as I'm sitting here, I can think of at least 10 people I'm going to buy the book for that need it. And I was thinking, I mean, you're such a gift, and you've been such a gift in my life, and such a healer in my life. And I want to be able to give that gift forward. And I'm grateful that you have this beautiful book and platform and classes to be able to really touch more people. And that will just be, I think, like a ripple effect spreading, to so many people that need it.
Kara, thank you so much. And Kara, for all of you that don't know who Kara is, she was the dietitian in the Ornish program, but she's so much more. She's such an amazing human and has worked on a lot of different in a lot of different lifestyle programs and with a lot of different people. So Kara, thank you so much. Coming from you, it's really a high praise. Thank you.
And I'm from Omaha too.
I know your sister, her sister used to own Hollywood Candy. So, I mean, everybody knows that place. Yeah. So thank you, Kara. Thanks for being on. Appreciate it. Anybody else?
Someone asked, sorry, I lost it in the chat, but someone asked about upcoming speaking events or other book events. And so I didn't know if maybe you wanted to talk about the in-person book launch.
Yeah, we're getting to the top of the hour, but the in-person book launch, luckily we have this lovely independent bookstore. There's not a lot of independent bookstores left, We've got a couple in Omaha. And the one that I love so much, the Bookworm, is going to do a launch for us on April 6th, which is a Saturday at 3 p.m. And I'm really excited to be able to go there and do that there. So I hope that those of you who are in town, there's a lot of people that are planning to come to the in-town launch. And when I talked with Carl at the Bookworm, he said, we don't usually get more than 20 people. And I said, I think we're going to have more than 20 people. And so we've already had quite a few, maybe, 50 or more that said they want to come. So I'm really hoping that we have a big crowd and that people will go home with a book, not take one, but buy one. Buy one from the Bookworm because they're awesome and I love them so much. So, and I'd love to do, I'm going to be going to London to visit my grandkids, and I'd love to, I'm trying to set up something there to see if I can do something at, one of the yoga centers or bookstores. So wherever I go and wherever I'm traveling, I'm going to try to do things like, speaking. I'm going to speak at the yoga therapy conference in July this year. And I've spoken there before. This will be just a round table that I'll be kind of the leader for one of the round tables there. And I know Brett is going to go to that too. And it's a really great conference for yoga therapists. So I'll be at that. And I think there's been a couple other things that have come along. I can't remember what they are, but some podcasts and other things. So if anybody knows of anyone or anything and they'd like to tell me, please put it in the chat or call me or text me or.
Tell them about the podcasts and
Oh,
the articles.
We do have some podcasts up on the site already. I've done a few already, and they're up on our site, yourcenteredheart.com, and you can listen there. There's a couple of them up right now. And I've got one coming up this week that I'm really excited about with the Paramahansa Yogananda people in San Jose. And they have a big following, and they have a podcast called The Yoga Hour, and I'm real excited about that. So,
Hey, Susie, isn't it your mother, Bev, who introduced you to yoga and took you to some of your first gatherings?
oh yeah, who is that? Who is saying this?
Sandy.
Sandy, it is my mother, Bev, who did that. And I write about it in my book. It's in the intro. But my mom, bless her heart, mom, I dedicated this book to her. And she was a mother of 5 kids. She had 5 kids in, I think, 6 years, which is, I can't even imagine that. And I think she was having her own stress when we were all in high school. And that's when I kind of had my real severe kind of bout with anxiety that was crippling. And she took me to a yoga class, and that's where I met a Swami, and I started studying, and my life really changed. And it was really the first time I'd felt any relief from that crippling anxiety. And then I moved to a yoga ashram because of her, who in the 70s told their kids, sure, go to a yoga ashram. My mom, of course, love her. Most people thought that was crazy, and but she didn't, and she saw how much it had helped me and how important it was. And it had helped her in her life. I used to come home from school and she was standing on her head. And there was a time at which I think she cleaned out all the cupboards and replaced everything with like mung beans and rice. And, we all just thought she was crazy. But to this day, I still eat mung beans and rice. So I have to thank her for, all of her sort of vision and insight into the world of health and healing. She really did open the door for me. So, Mom, thank you again.
Say something. Thank you
Yeah.
for becoming who you are.
Yeah. What a sweetheart. My mom looks pretty good, doesn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Bev.
Hi. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Good to see you.
So thank you all for being on. Is there anything else? We're going to end the call because we're right up at the end of the hour. And I know that all of you, thank you for taking time out of your busy Sunday to just be here with me and share.
I have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Susie. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Hi.
Hi. So it's a very simple question, but it's an important question. So I want to order, and I've been waiting because I don't know what the right date is. How do you want me to order? On Amazon, or is there another way that's better for you? How can I order? How should other people order?
Well, thank you for saying that, John. Yes, Amazon's a great way. And once you get your book, if you can go on and write us a review, that really helps the book be seen. So the minute your book comes in, you've read it, please, 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 if you can take just a minute to go write a review, that would be amazing. Amazon's a great way to get the book. If you have a local bookstore and you want them to carry it, you can go in and ask them to carry it and buy it from them. That's another great way because it gets the book out there and other people will see it. So that's also a really wonderful way to do it. I think there's, you can go on Goodreads. In fact, Gracie just said today, she went on to Goodreads to look to see, and we had a couple of reviews already that were and they were really great. I don't know how those people got their books, but maybe some of the books have gone out a little bit early, or maybe they were reviewers that wrote something. But we have a couple 5-star reviews on Goodreads right now. So that's one way. Thanks, John. Just to go and you can get, if you go to yourcenteredheart.com, you can just click on the link and it takes you right to Amazon and you can buy the book there. So thank you for asking. Yeah.
Is today the right day to buy it?
Sure, any day. We just, we've been trying to mess with the algorithms. We can't even. In fact, our publisher said to us the other day, "Did you guys do a campaign for pre-order? Because we're getting a really huge amount of orders for this book right now." We're like, "Yeah, we did." So yeah, that go on Amazon. They've got it, and it helps us. Yeah, anytime. We wanted to see it keep going up. So.
And I put this in the chat, but we have the Centered Heart little stickers that are so cute. And we'd love to send some via snail mail. So if you want to send, you could send one of us a direct message. You could send me a direct message with your address if you'd like, and we could send that out to you.
I know they're really cute on your water bottle, and we all have them on. Gracie, Missy, and I have. Yeah, see, Gracie has it on her water bottle. Yeah, we all have them on our computers, and we all have matching water bottles that I have mine too. So, they're really cute, and we'd love to send them out snail mail if you want some. Just let us know how many you want, and we'll send you some if you want them.
Susie, I just wanted to say I love you, and I'm so proud of you, and you're such an inspiration, and I can't wait to have my hard copy on my table. Be like having a little piece of Susie right at my house.
Brett, thank you so much. Those of you who don't know Brett Brett and I have worked side by side in the Ornish program for so many years. And she's also a yoga teacher and a nurse. And we've had so much fun together, and she's such a great healer. So it's just an honor to have people that I've worked with, Julie and Mimi and everybody else who's on, Nancy, and Kara and whoever else is on from that program. It's just wonderful to have you all here and supporting this. So thank you so much. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. I'm going to close, and I just hope that all of you will, check in with me if you need anything. If you want stickers, I wish I could sign your books for you, but I guess I can't unless you invite me to your town, and then I'll sign them for you when I come. So thank you so much. And I appreciate all of you being on.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you, everyone. Like I say at the end of all my classes, be well. Be well.